It's your girl HennyStr8t, and we watching Popparotz Tv.
It's DWI, New York's most influential producer, right here at the Matrix Studios, the #1 radio broadcasting network in the world. You heard it first. Stay influenced, be influential. Nice to meet you. First, let me be properly introduce myself. DWI, I love Henny. So with you having a name with Henny involved with it, I'm in love already.
Thank you. But it's about you today.
Okay.
So DWI, what does that stand for?
It actually is an acronym for my name, Damian Williams Influence. So back when I was coming out, you know, we had Swiss Beats, we had Needles, we had a bunch of different producers coming out, and everybody had, you know, and rappers, they all had those shoot 'em up, kill 'em up type of names, and I was just like, I want something that kind of means one thing, but when you think about it, when you really think about it, it means something else. So the DWI is my actual name, Damian Williams, and then influence is what I would like to do, or what I set out to do, is influence people with music.
That's good. You took the positive route.
Right.
So,
but the name is a negative name. When you see it in the news, it's always somebody got caught for DWI, which is a double. It's a good look for me.
It's a paradox. Yeah. It's a paradox. You wouldn't get it unless you know what it meant. So that's very cool. Mm-hmm. But what is it that you do?
Well, as of now, I'm a producer. I'm a father. I'm a father first. Producer. CEO of the Matrix Studios, which is the #1 underground radio broadcast network in the world, coming out of New York City from the Bronx. And I'm one of those guys that helped pioneer internet radio, not just radio, but internet radio.
So how did it all get started? How old were you?
I started making music back in '99 when I was just a producer. As I was producing, I had a home studio apartment on 235th Street in the Bronx. And from there, I seen the movie The Matrix, and that movie just really took my mind. Like, it really had me just believing that you could put anything you put your mind to. So, and that was the premise of the movie, with Neo trying to get him to believe that he was better than what he thought he was. And from that, I incorporated that into the studio, and I used to have a bunch of artists come in that was just new and didn't really know what they was doing, so I would work with them. I'm a very patient person, so I would work with them, show them how they're supposed to do bars in the booth, how to rap, how to produce, and so I consider them to be like my Neos. Every time they came into the Matrix, I had to make somebody believe that they were bigger than what they was. And from that, it spun off into being asked in 2002 by Jesse Jess, which is the founder and CEO of the Underground Music Awards, which they did about 11 of those so far. And we was just doing a radio show, a pirate radio show on 91.9 FM in New York City. So we was actually on the radio airwaves. And he gave me a proposition. He asked me, do I think I could produce a radio show? And I was like, I had never done it, but I'll give it a shot. And taking that extra step got me to this place where I'm at now.
So, who are some recognizable names that you've worked with?
Well, I work with, on the radio side, I work with, shout out to Remy Ma from the Bronx, shout out to Joe Jackson, Michael Jackson's dad, shout out to KRS-One. The list is so long for the length that I've been doing it, but those are like my biggest influences in, during radio. Prior to that, I actually was neighbors with Swiss Beats, so me and Swiss came up together, and he inspired me to really want to get into production first. And he's younger than me, so he's like the younger big brother right now. Engineering wise, I work with Tony Sunshine, AG from Showbiz and AG, Chris Rivers, which is Big Pun's son. He records here at the Matrix Studios right now, and a host of other dope artists that, again, I don't want to get to try to name too many names and I'll forget people.
Okay,
but those are the most.
So you just do it all.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just all around great guy.
Right, and I like to say too, when people reference like working for yourself and not it not being work because you actually do what you want to do and what you love doing, that is something that I'm a person that can really attest to that, because I wake up every day, I'll put on a watch, but I never watch the clock. I'm just going through the day. The day takes its course. I go to networking events, I go here, I come to the studio, and then the day just resets. Go home, go to sleep, and I do the same thing over again. And I never really watch the clock or worry about, you know, if it's ever going to stop. I just keep it going. I just find ways to keep going.
So what you're doing is, would you say it's more for the passion of it, or?
It's definitely passion. The fact that I understand business is why I'm always going to get paid, because no one's going to not pay me. But if it was a way that we could live life and I didn't have to get paid for that, I would just do this. Like, this is what I do. This is my purpose in life. So.
What gave you the courage to be like, this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna just quit my day job and I'm gonna just devote everything to this?
That's a good question. I think I take chances. I'm never afraid to try something new, except for certain foods, because I don't eat my stomach. I'm a little person with my stomach. But when it came to that making that decision, I was already producing on the side. So I was engineering and producing out of my apartment after work. So once I had enough clientele, I just decided to just make that decision. And I'm gonna explain something to the world out there. When you have something, a gift, as Steve Harvey would say, when you have a gift and you are really good at it, whether it's you know, teaching, or whether it's being a comedian, whether it's good with numbers, once you have that gift, then it's just a matter of just honing those skills and making money from it. So me, I knew I could record, and I knew people would go away and come back and say, yo, I had a great session. I'm telling more people, and it kept growing and growing and building and building. So from that, I just, you know, the check, when you're working at a job, the check keeps you secure. You feel like, you know, I'm gonna go back to work because I gotta get that check. But if you have a skill, the same way that what your boss or the CEO of that company sees in you, you can do it for yourself. If people really believe in your brand or whatever you're selling.
That definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
I know everything has bumps in the road. What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced starting your own business?
My biggest challenge has just been, in the beginning, just organizing people, like and stepping back and allowing people to actually, you know, do what I need them to do. Delegating, that was my biggest problem. I'm just getting the hang of it now with the team that I have. But I went through several people where I just had to do everything, because I just feel like I know the way it's going to be done. I know my reputation, and people like to do things in this industry based on how they feel, their reputation. But when it comes to me, like, you got to do things in my business the way that I would do things. And not everybody's going to be me. Not everybody's going to be you. Not anybody's going to be anybody else, you know, in this world. So you really got to, when you're building something, you really got to pay close attention to it.
So would you say that now you have the perfect power team?
I think, yes. I would say 100. I'd say 99%, just in case they're watching this, that they can understand that they still got room to grow. But I have the pieces in place now, and it's moving along pretty smoothly. In this last year, like, we've been all over the place, all over New York City. We've been invited to a lot of big celebrity events. We was at the Global Spin Awards. We got a chance to meet Swiss, Rakim, Rod Digger wasn't there, MC Light, Puff Daddy, like, so all these people that when I coming up, I was looking at trying to get close to. Now I built something that brings them right to me. So it was a pretty good decision on my part to quit that day job and really go full force with my passion. And I'm not saying that everybody should do it, but everybody can do it if you have a skill.
Are there any artists you would like to work with that you haven't got a chance to work with yet?
Interview wise, who didn't I talk? I still didn't get Fab yet. He called in, and I think he's super dope. Jay-Z, for obvious reasons, just on the business side, I would like to talk to. I would like, the cameras don't even have to be rolling for that. I just need to rap with him just about, you know, business. Man, that's a tough question. And I always draw a blank. But I've been blessed to actually see, and if I didn't work with him directly, but actually, you know, be a part of some things with a lot of artists that I really looked up to. So I have to get back to that list. Maybe at the end you ask me my top 5 or something, and we'll get into that.
So moving forward, like, everything's successful now, but what are your bigger goals? Are you trying to take it up?
Yeah. Actually, my biggest goal, which is very obtainable, is taking this, what I built here, and making it, one, transportable, where I can go different venues, different cities, and just set up with my team and do interviews for people that don't have the access. Because you'd be surprised that because there's an internet, you think everybody's on it, but everybody still doesn't know how to push that energy out to the world correctly. But my first stop is Canada, because my son is born in Canada, and I travel there every month, and that's been, if you can go back to your last question about what some of my challenges, that was one of my biggest challenges. But 3 years later, well, going on my 4th year, you can stop that. Going on my 4th year of my son being born and me traveling back and forth every month, leaving the studio in the hands of people that wasn't really ready for it. I think that was one of my toughest challenges, because it's really hard when you become a parent. You're trying to, make the right decision. Obviously, the studio is making the money to help raise him, but if I spend too much time with him and not at the studio, then anything could happen, and then now I got to start all over. So I had to really walk that fine line. I stayed here more than I stayed there, but he was a baby, so he wasn't really missing me as much as I was missing him. So now it's starting to flip. So now, being that he's out there, he's getting older, he's going to start going to school next year, I want to have some business on the other side of the border, helping the Canadians out with internet radio and networking, and bringing some of the New York artists up there and bringing some of them down here to experience. Because again, everybody is close, it's 8 hours away, but if you drive, but it's still a gap, it's still a whole other country.
So DWI, what are any future ventures we can look out for?
Well, basically, the upcoming year is going to be really busy for us. All-Star Weekend is in New York City. When you're watching this, if it's around February, then it's about to be that time. So we'll be running back and forth between the Barclays Center and Madison Square Garden and all these events downtown, covering parties. Me and my team, we just want to be out there supporting all the independent artists, all the signed artists, all the comedians. We want to be a part of everything. So not so much we want to, we will be. And couple of award shows we got coming up in the new year, and pretty much just branching and branding. That's really what we're going to be doing, marketing and branding.
Well, you heard it straight from him, DWI, the Matrix Studio, and just let us know where we can find you at.
Alright, well, and on Twitter or Instagram, you got me at the DWIMUZIK, at the Matrix Studio without an S on Instagram or Twitter. Facebook is my name, Damian Williams, Damian DWI Music Williams. And that's pretty much it. The Matrix Studios, www.com, The Matrix Studios website. You got music, all you independent artists out there that got videos or they got music that want to get rotated and promoted, just holla at us. We'll be right here.
HennyStr8t, Popparotz TV, and we're out.